Hello everyone. Math 142. This is week number 14 and this is our last demo session. Just a few quick announcements before we start. So this week and next week we are working on Unit 8. Unit 8 actually is not a very complicated unit. It's not as much as 6 and 7. And the methods are relatively simple. I mean, you kind of have to figure out what it's saying, but once you figure it out, it's pretty straightforward. Nothing crazy like, trying to calculate normal probabilities like last week. So I'm going to try to, do some of those exercises today, but if you give yourself enough time to go through the required reading, it really is not hard to follow. Okay, I mean, they have quite a few methods and that kind of stuff, and I wasn't very familiar with these before I started teaching this class, but once I started going through this, it wasn't too bad, it wasn't too hard. So I'm going to kind of just run through the exercises, and hopefully it's a pretty simple one for you. Now next week, besides finishing up Unit 8 and all previous units, is going to be your final exam. Okay, so I'm going to probably post more announcements about the final by this weekend. Okay, so basically this is how it's going to be. The final exam would be somewhat similar to a problem-solving exercise. I'm going to post it as a document that you can download, or you don't even have to download. You can actually just look at it on screen and work out the problem on separate sheet of paper. Okay, and just turn that in. Okay. So you're going to get the exam on My Open Math. All right, it's going to be right on top of My Open Math. When you go into the website, the very first thing is going to be the final exam. The final exam will be posted Thursday of next week, 1 week from today, May 7th. Okay, it's going to be up at 12:01 a.m. All right, and you have 48 hours to complete it. It's not due until May 8th, Friday, at 11:59 p.m. and all the times are Arizona Pacific times. Okay. So they give you full 48 hours. There's no time limit. Okay, you can spend all 48 hours on it. There's no proctor required. Okay. But of course, we always advise you to do your own work. Okay, and maybe there are ways we can figure out if you don't. So please don't try that. It's very unpleasant. And then, but instead of uploading it on My Open Math like you do for problem solving, you're going to be emailing your exam to me. Okay, your completed exam, you're going to email that to me by 11:59 p.m. Friday, May 8th. All right, so those are the basic instructions. Okay, and when you receive the exam, of course, there are more instructions on, what the problems are and how you need to complete them and that kind of stuff. Okay, so you'll be given more detailed instructions when you get the exam. All right, it's completely open book, open notes, open everything. Okay, because we can't watch you, obviously. All right, so that's what we have to do, and and that's fine. If anything happens during the exam, your internet went out or goes out, you have to go to the ER and all that kind of crazy stuff. Okay, you need to let me know within the 48-hour period. Okay, don't wait till after. Okay, After the 48 hours, of final exam, and I submitted your grades, then it becomes increasingly difficult for me to go back and change it. All right. So if anything happens, okay, you got sick suddenly, okay, you need to let me know within the 48 hours, okay, or have someone let me know. Okay, I posted if you go to my contact information, okay, in the Start Here folder, I have my phone, I have my text, okay, you can call me, text me, in addition to email me. If you're on Facebook, you can contact me on Facebook, all right, but you need to communicate with me, all right, that is very, very important, okay. I know that some of you are still looking at a lot of unfinished work, okay, and my advice to you, all right, because everything is open until May 11th. May 11th is a Monday, all right. You have all day Monday up to 11:59 p.m. Arizona Pacific time of May 11th to finish everything. So after the final is due on the 9th, okay, May 8th, okay, you still have 9, 10th, you still have 72 hours after that. All right, so final is on Thursday, Friday, okay, and then you have all day Saturday, all day Sunday, all day Monday to do as much as you can, all right, of your assignments, okay. So I cannot tell you what your grades are going to be until after May 11th, okay. So you're just going to have to do as much as you can, all right, because I won't be able to tell you where you're at. That's really, really difficult, okay. And it wouldn't be fair if I tell some but not the others. So I just want to make sure everybody knows that, I will not be able to tell you how you do on the final exam, okay, before the 11th deadline, okay. So you just have to do as much as you can, all right. And my advice to anyone who wants to pass this class is that no one is failed yet. No one has failed yet, all right. You fail only after the deadline is passed and I look at everything you submitted and then make the determination that you did not pass the class, all right. But until then, no one has failed this class, all right. And I will grade you on your body of work, okay. If you do everything as much as you can, I can look at your points, okay. I can look at what you've done on your problem solving exercises, things like that. I can also look at how you do on your final exam, okay. So I'm grading on everything you've submitted. I look at your midterm grade, okay. So everyone is still fine at this time, okay. I mean, some of you are very behind, but no one is out yet, okay. And no one is out until the 11th, all right, or after the 11th, okay. So please don't stop working. I will look at everything you turned in, and I'll make a decision on that, okay. And it's not always your percentage and what shows up on Schoology and that kind of stuff, all right, because the determination of the grade is not solely based on points, total points, all right. Because I know some of you work long hours, some of you are first response, critical employees, okay. So things like that. So I just want you to don't give up and just keep working, all right. Okay, we will not have a demo session next week because next Thursday you guys will be smack in the middle of doing your final, All right, so I'm not going to, you know, show up and do anything. All right, but if you need any help from me, okay, about unlocking assignments, that kind of stuff, asking questions, whatever, I'll be available to you all week next week, all the way until the 11th. All right, and you can call me, text me, email me, message me on my Open Math, on Schoology, all that. Okay. All right. Any questions from anyone? If you're watching this as a recording, and if you're watching it on Facebook, you can comment on the video and I'll see it and I will respond back to you. But if you're watching this on YouTube, please do not comment on the YouTube video, because I will not go to the video to look for comments. All right. So if you have any questions, please be sure to contact me in one of the other ways that I mentioned. All right. So today I'm going to go through both problem solving for Unit 8A and Unit 8B. Okay? Fun stuff, let me tell you. All right. All right. So 8A is on voting. I highly recommend that you go over the required reading before doing this exercise. Okay, as a matter of fact, if you go through the reading, this becomes pretty easy. All right. Okay, so this is the table that we get. All right. Okay. So the way that this is set up, okay, we have a bunch of voters who voted for four items. I'm trying to read what the background is. Okay, so they rank. There are like four items, and the people are asked to rank them. In terms of their preference. Okay, so first choice would be item B, second choice item C, third choice item A, fourth choice is item D. All right, and there are 8 people who voted in that order. All right, and in this order, A, D, C, B, there are 9 people, and then 13 people voted in this order, and 7 and 7 and 15 in those order. All right. So that's how you read that. So question 1, how many voters voted in this election? Okay, well, you just added up the voters, right? Okay, number 2, how many votes are needed for a majority? Okay, so if you add up the numbers, okay, you want to get a majority would be the number that will put you over 50%. Okay, so if there are 10 votes, 10 voters, okay, then you're going to need 6 to put you over 50. Okay, 5 is not good enough. 5 is at 50, which is not good enough. So you got to put over 50, which would be 6. Okay, now if you have 15 voters, okay, then you need to have 8 to put you over 50%, right? Because 15 divided by 2 is 7.5, so you need 8. All right. Number 3, find the percent of first choice votes for each option. Okay, so first choice vote, we're only looking at the first line here. All right, so first choice, that is A, would be 9 votes, and plus 7 votes, which would be 16 votes, right? First choice, that's B, would be 8 plus 7, and that's 15. First choice, that is C, would be 15 also. And first choice, that is D, that would put us at 13. Okay? Now, but they want percent. They want percentage. Okay? So it would be 16 over whatever the total is. Okay? And then you multiply that by 100%, right? Okay, so that's how you get the percentage. Okay, so you do that for all 4 numbers. Alright? Okay. Number 4, apply the Bortle count method to determine the winner. Okay, so Bortle count is where you assign points to each one. Okay, the first one, which was the plurality method, which was the one that we were doing before, we're only looking at first choice. Only. We're not looking at second, third, or fourth. Now, but the Bortle count, that's when we assign points to every preference. Okay, so if you are first choice, you get 4 points. Okay, second choice gets 3 points. Third choice gets 2 points, and fourth choice gets 1 point. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna start adding up the points for the 4 different choices. Okay. All right. So for A, okay, so we got, that's 4 points times 9, right? Because A right here, you've got 9 votes. Each vote is worth 4 points. So 4 times 9. All right. And you also have 4 times 7. Alright, now here we got 3 points times 7. And then we got 2 points times 8 and 2 points times 15. And then we got 1 point for 13, 1 times 13. So all these are the points for choice A. Okay, so what you have to do is you're going to multiply out each one and add them up. Okay, so that's the point for A. Do the same for B, C, and D. Alright, and then see which choice has the most points. Okay, number 5, apply the instant runoff voting method to determine the winner. Alright, include your calculations and results. Okay, so instant runoff voting is where you eliminate the lowest vote getter. Okay, so so we're going by the plurality method again. We're not doing the Bordeaux. Okay, so A, B, C, D. All right, and if you remember, A has so we're not doing points again. We're not doing points. Okay, but we're only looking at the first place. Okay, so A is 9 plus 7. That's 16. B is 8 plus 7, which is 15. Alright, C is 15. D is 13. Alright. So that's the first round. Now, first round, we eliminate D because D is the lowest vote getter. Okay, so we're going to eliminate that. Okay, now when we eliminate it, then what happens is that everything gets moved up a notch. Okay, everything gets moved up a notch. Okay, now, but since we're only looking at the first place ones, right? Okay, so the only change is the B that moved up from second place to the first place for the 13 votes. All right. Okay, so after the first round, D is out, okay, but B got the 13 votes when it moved up to the top. All right, and there's no change in A or C. Now, it is over if 15 plus 13, which is 28, captures the majority. Is 28 the majority? The answer is no. Okay. How do you know? Well, 28 divided by the total. Okay, which does not capture 50%. All right. So what you do is you're going to eliminate the next lowest one. Okay, so after 2 rounds, I got 16 here, I got 28 here, I got 15 here. So the second round, we eliminate C. Okay, so eliminate C. All right, so now A moves up there. Okay, so A now gets 15 more votes. Alright, so 31 versus 28, and I believe 31 would capture over 50%. Okay, so the final result of this instant runoff voting method would be A. Okay. Number 6. Six is this method called Koblenz. All right. Alright, so Copeland is a pairwise comparison. Alright. Okay, so how do you do the pairwise? Well, first of all, you got to list all the different pairs. You're literally comparing A, B, C, and D a pair at a time. Okay, so what do we have then? We have A versus B. Okay. We have A versus C. Okay, A versus D. Alright, we have B versus C. B versus D. C versus D. Alright. So basically what you're looking at is you're going to calculate the votes for each one. So this is how it goes. Let's say I'm doing A versus B. Okay? So for each column here, for each of these columns, I'm going to see which one is ranked higher. So for the first 8 votes, okay, B beats A, because B is first, A is third. Alright? So under B, okay, now I got 8 votes. Alright? Second column, A beats B for 9 votes. So now A gets 9. Okay, the 9 goes to A. Third column, B beats A again, and for 13. Okay, so the 13 votes on column 3 goes to B. Okay, fourth column, okay, A beats B for 7 votes. So 7 votes goes to A. And then the last 2 columns, okay, the fifth column, B gets 7 votes. And on the very last column, A gets 15 votes. Okay, see how that works? Okay, so you total to see who wins. Okay, 9, 7, 16, this is 31. Okay, 7, 13, 20, 28. So in head-to-head match, A beats B. Alright? And what you're going to do is you're going to do it for every pair. The same method I did for A and B. Alright? So, and you're going to see, okay, so now you're going to get, now what you're going to need to do is to see how many winners of these contests you get. Okay? So A versus B, okay, who won? Okay, so A won. Alright, A versus C, and let's see, A versus C, I think C wins. Alright, so C wins the contest. Alright. So what you're going to do is you're going to do it for each pair, okay, and see which one, A, B, C, or D, has the most winners on these head-to-head contests. The one with the most winners wins the game. Alright? There may be ties. Alright? But that's okay. Okay? But that's how this game is played with the Copeland. Alright? So that's number 6, and number 7, you can make your own conclusions. Okay. So this is Unit 8A. A lot more fun than last week's stuff, I'm sure. Any questions from anyone? All right. So let's move on to 8B. 8B is on apportionment. Apportionment is allocation. All right. You have an amount of something and you try to split it, okay, evenly according to the different portion sizes you have in your categories. Okay. So what we have here are 20 nurses that we're trying to schedule, all right, and there are 4 shifts in a day with varying number of patients. Okay, so you don't really want to just schedule 5 nurses for each shift, because certain times of the day there are fewer people than other. There are busier times which you probably need more, okay, and then there's slower times where you don't need as many. All right, so we want to be able to allocate the right number of nurses to meet the demands. Okay, so the way that this is set up, we have 4 shifts. All right, so morning, let me do it this way. So we have morning shift, midday, afternoon, and evening. Midday, afternoon, PM, evening. All right. Now, patients. Patients, we need to know to help us schedule the right number of nurses. Alright, so these are the number of patients we get. Okay? So, I'll give away the answer to the first question. First question is, what's the total? You add up those numbers, and you should get 840. Okay, so question number 1. Determine the standard divisor and initial quotas. Okay, round to 3 decimal places. Okay, so basically what we need to do is we need to figure out, okay, with this number of patients, we need to figure out how many patients per nurse, right? We have 20 nurses. So how many per nurse? We have 840. Divide by 20. That would be 42, I believe. So 42 patients per nurse. Okay, and this is what's called a standard divisor. All right, so standard divisor is 42. Okay. Now we need to calculate the quota. The quota, the initial quota, all right, so given we know that we need we need to have one nurse for 42 patients. How many nurses we need using that information? All right. So this would be 85 divided by 42. Okay. Which is 2.024. All right. So you would do it. You would do that for the other 3 shifts. Divide by 42. That's how you get the initial quota. All right. So that's how you do number 1. Number 2, apportion 20 nurses using the following methods. Okay. All right. So first method is the Hamilton method. Okay, the Hamilton method is you're going to drop the decimals, okay, and then give the extra ones to the ones with the highest value in the decimals. All right, so. So for example, this is 2.024. All right. Okay. So these are the initial quota. All right. To apply the Hamilton method, we are dropping the decimal values. Okay, so we'll only keep the 2, keep the 3, keep the 6, keep the 7. We're not rounding. Okay. Well, we're rounding down. Okay, but we're not rounding according to the value. Okay, so we're only keeping these, and we add these up. 5, 6 is 11, plus 7 is 18. Okay. Now we have 2 extra ones, right? Because we've got 20 nurses. Here we count for 18. Okay, so which 2 gets the extra nurses are the ones with the highest decimal values. Okay, highest decimal value, this is 024, this is 929, 548, and 500. Okay, so which 2 gets it? It would be this one and this one. Okay, so this one gets a +1, this one gets a +1. So the Hamilton result is that. Now, that's the easy one. Next one is the Jefferson method. For Jefferson's method, you are still going to round down. All right? We're still rounding down. Okay? But instead of do the +1 on the decimal values, we're going to recalculate the quota with a smaller divisor. Alright? So right now the divisor is 42. Okay? So we're going to swap the divisor. Okay? So we're going to calculate these. Using divide by, because we divided these by 42, right? Okay, this is divided by 42. Okay, but we're going to increase it, so try divide by 43, okay, or 44, okay, until, see, should I go up or down? I believe I should go down, never mind. Okay, never mind, not 43, 44, because if you divide by big numbers, it's going to decrease. Okay, so we need to divide by smaller numbers. So 42, we're going to divide by 41, 40, all right, until you use up 20 people, okay? Because you're going to divide by these numbers and you're going to get numbers where you're going to drop the decimals, all right? You're going to drop the decimals, okay? But you're going to get bigger numbers, okay? Because the three may become a 4 if you know, drop these numbers down. So if this 3 becomes a 4, then you use up the next one, okay? Or this becomes a 7, okay? Then you use up the other one, right? So you're going to decrease the divisor to jack these numbers up. I don't know which ones, okay, but you will, all right, until you get 20 people, okay? Now what happens, let's say if you divide by 41 and suddenly 3 of these numbers jacked up by 1, okay, possible. If this becomes 3 and 4 and 7, okay, and then 7, okay, then you got 21, right? That's too many, okay? So how do you adjust? Then you're going to, you know, try 40.5. Okay, so you kind of need to adjust your divisor, okay, to increase the number, you drop the divisor, you drop the number, okay. I guess instead of it should be 41.5. Okay, if you want to decrease, then you want to raise, okay, raise the divisor. Okay, so basically you're going to change, adjust this number so that you're going to get 4 values, okay, that adds up to 20. All right, so that's Jefferson's method. All right. So the next one is Adams' method. So Adams, he is rounding up. He's rounding up. So instead of these numbers, if we get these numbers, okay, we're going to round it up to 3. This is going to be 4. This is going to be 7. This is going to be 8. Okay, if we add them up, we have 22. We have 2 too many. All right, so what do? We're going to adjust the divisor again, but this time we're going to bump up the number. Okay, so we're going to increase divisor, okay, from 42, okay, to 43, to whatever, okay, when you bump up these numbers is going to drop, all right, until you drop to a number that's 20. So 3, 4, 7, and 8, they're going to drop, okay, when you change the divisor, increase the divisor. All right, so it goes the opposite direction of Jefferson's method. All right, so keep changing, keep adjusting the divisor until you get a sum total that's 20. Now remember, this is rounding up. Okay, so for this number to drop, for example, you probably want to, get it to be like 1.9 something something. Then this will go from 3 to a 2. All right, so adjust the divisor. And finally, Webster's. Webster's method is, I believe, it's the one where you round up or down. Okay, you're gonna round up or down, and then choose and then adjust the divisor accordingly. All right, so Webster's, we're going to do the common sense rounding, right? So there's going to be 2. Let's round down. Now 3.9, we're going to round it up to 4. Okay. And 6.5 is going to round up to 7. 7.5 is going to round to 8. Alright. So this is the common sense rounding. Okay. 5 or higher, round up. 4 or lower, round down. Okay. So here we're going to get 21. Okay, so we got 1 too many. Okay, which means that we got to drop these numbers down, and to drop these numbers, we're going to increase the divisor. Okay, so too many. Okay, increase divisor. Okay, too few, decrease divisor. Alright, so Webster decided that it can go both ways. Okay, probably because if you round it, the common sense rounding, you probably get it much closer to start with. Okay, so instead of divide by 42, okay, we have too many, so we're going to increase divisor. Alright, so we'll go from 42 maybe to 43. Okay, if we go too low, okay, then we're going to hit back and go 42.5. Okay, if you have to. Okay, so go 1 unit at a time, or if it's too far, then comes back half a unit until you get exactly 20 after you do the rounding. Okay, the common sense rounding. Alright, for this. So fun stuff. Any questions about anything? All right. Okay, so Unit 8 is not too bad. I mean, the processes, they seem a little bit convoluted at times, but if you spend a little time, try to understand, and there are some really, really good examples in the required reading. All right, I highly recommend it. Okay, once you go through the examples, it's pretty straightforward because they work things out in good detail. All right, so so that's it for the problem solving exercises. Once again, final exam next week. If you missed that part, make sure you start watching from the beginning. And best of luck to you. Okay. It was great having you guys in class. It was a little bit of a crazy time, I know, and crazy for you as well. Okay. But once again, remember, none of you is out yet. You're not out of, passing this class. So don't grade for me. Don't do the grading for me. I do the grading. Okay, you do the work. All right. So you do the best work you possibly can before May 11th. Okay, and then I'll give you the grade. All right. So so on that note, best of luck to you. And hope everything goes well. And have a good night.